What's the definition of cannon fodder? Soldiers regarded or treated as expendable in battle. Cannon fodder and Heir to the Stars are literally they're the weakest level. They're the lowest level in terms of, as characters. And the way I do this, however, is what I need people to understand is you're not introduced to the weakest characters in the verse until I introduce the Realm Reborn Red mechanics, which means you're not introduced to the weakest characters in Heir to the Stars until Melodybind Kaleidoscope. That's the book that's introducing it. Anything that you see that's on the 8th floor are not treated effectively as, they're not in the levels of power per se. And that's where I think people have a problem with. I don't care. The 8th floor effectively does not exist to anyone of significance. Once you leave the 8th floor, once you enter the Road to Tomorrow, once you surpass the art gallery on the 1st floor, everything else, tier 8 no longer exists to you. And this is where you're introduced to the weakest characters in a verse, the cannon fodder. This is where you're introduced to something like a Zion. Now, Zion first appears, it's a class of cannon fodders in the Heir to the Stars franchise. It first appears in Guidepost to Tomorrow. And what you actually see in there they're more so the shadows of Zions. And basically, Zions are beings that have died but got lost on their way to the light at the end of the tunnel. But because they never reach the end of the tunnel, they become stuck in between a gap. They exist to feed on the conscious and souls of the living as a means of trying to find a way to peace. These are merely the shadows of the actualities of Zions. And when you're in Guidepost to Tomorrow, a Zion can only be described as a non-corporeal quantum consciousness. They have no material form, no will. They move outside of causality and action. They are beyond the necessity of time, as they exist in the state of I think, therefore I am. They're able to manipulate psionic energy to annihilate the conceptual action and effect of thinking towards a target, completely eliminating the target's capability to use higher cognitive functions. Thinking allows one to understand cause and effect, to recognize patterns of connotation, to comprehend and unveil unique contexts of experience or activity, and to respond to the world in a significant way. The Zions completely control this, and they completely abolish it. But these are just merely the shadows. When you get to read Melodybind Kaleidoscope, when this book introduced the lowest branches of Heir to the Stars, Realm Reborn Red is where it starts. Every one of these Zions, and trust me, Zions exist in a do I want to say that? No, it's true. They're a transcendental, boundless, that's how many there are. You cannot count them. And they're all over. But every single one of them has the same attributes. Like, they all possess Realm Reborn Red. It was outright shown in the books that each Zion can open up its right hand, possessing every eternalism, actualism, infinitism, possibilism, and totality, on all attributes and modes of the absolute perfection of everything, ranging from all of fiction, all of non-fiction, all of trans-fiction, all of fan-fiction, all of metafiction, all of patafiction, all of interfiction, all of personal fiction, and all of impersonal fiction. All of existence and non-existence, from the context of every verse, story, plot, every form of the former ever mentioned or seen, and beyond above the absolute infinite multiplicity amount never mentioned, seen, or even conceived of yet, in possibility, uncertainty, and actuality ever written and to still be written, was in the left hand of each Zion. So any one of them can do that. So basically, in a demonstration of feat, each and every Zion looked at their hand without even changing in any aspect. They had individually erased everything I'm about to say. Everything that you're about to get in this paragraph that I'm about to read to you, in actuality, was literally erased by each and every Zion. And it was recreated. And they could do this endlessly in a single finite moment, as if it was an act of futility. In each verse, story, plot, there is an absolute boundless and even greater hierarchy of hierarchies and levels beyond that, possessing all-encompassing authors that surpass any amount of observation, perception, and uncertainty, stretching beyond nothingness, totality, and possibility in sum total. Regardless of the director, omniverses, reality, or dimension, these authors artfully transcended authority within and outside of the verse, story, and plot, being all-encompassing and zenith, making them all-powerful and beyond the full totality of creation. Each one of them outright showed that they have the dominating power over everything that has been created, ranging from all the list of fictions I've listed earlier. Not only did they encompass and quantify mere aspects like infinity, eternity, totality, nothingness, and possibility, but it has been written, described, and drawn. Every single one of these authors fully transcendent authorities within and outside of the verse, plot, and story. They're all fully transfictional supreme beings. Each one demonstrating a dominating presence of infinite power, demonstrating above greater than infinite amount of feats. Each one is able to do absolutely every last thing to the most infinitesimal action, as their very existence and non-existence is pure act itself. Their very definition describes all the actions an omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresence supreme being has. These authors are the actuality, eventuality, and potentiality of an equation that answers anything that is omni, transcending beyond infinite numbers and languages, encompassing a meaning that transcends all boundless barriers that have ever been established in every form of existence and non-existence ever mentioned and seen, and above the absolute boundless multiplicity never mentioned, seen, or even conceived of yet, in possibility, uncertainty, nothingness, totality, and actuality. Each one of these authors could, can, and has done absolutely everything, possessing unbounded presence everywhere. And what I said before, the Zions, any Zion, can and has completely eliminated this. That entire paragraph, everything those feats were shown, Zion has eliminated the said being that can do that. Countless of them, boundless of them. But this is just the start. This is the bottom level. These are the canon fodder. And there are characters who can literally run through Zions like they're nothing. There is a post below that will give you a better elaboration of it, because I know you can get lost in my words. That was a lot to read. But I wanted to give you an outlook on just one of the canon fodder. All the canon fodder are literally at this level, at minimum. And anything you see in other books is basically just the shadow of them, or the prelude to them.
Hey, where are you going? To the art gallery, right? Good. You can find all the things Air to the Star related at www.airtothestars.com. And hopefully you can surpass the Ace of Spades while you're at it. Come on.